Hey, what's up everybody? This is the Wheelman282 here again. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to fix your video game controllers that have broken or just otherwise non-working analog sticks. So specifically, I'm going to be fixing this guy right here. This is a Halo Edition original Xbox controller that I want to restore, and the analog sticks are basically shot and they just don't work anymore. But what you're going to see in this video can basically be applied to just about any controller with an analog stick. It's not just Xbox. So what I'm going to be doing is taking this thing apart and removing the old analog sticks inside, not the thumbsticks, but the actual analog stick itself, and replacing it with ones that are in better shape, specifically out of this controller here. Again, like I said, what you're going to be seeing here can basically be applied to any controller that has an analog stick. So for example, if you wanted to fix this controller, you could almost definitely use the analog sticks out of a piece of junk PS2 controller, because they're basically the same things. It's the same part, and it works both ways. If you wanted to fix a PS2 controller that's got bad analog sticks and you've got a broken Xbox controller laying around, you can definitely steal them out of this and put it in this. That'll work. If you have like a piece of junk third-party controller laying around that you just hate to use, but it's got good analog sticks, you can totally take the analog sticks out of your piece of junk and put it in your NOS controller to fix that one, and more than likely that'll work. So this is just a piece of crap third-party controller that I just want to get rid of, but it's got parts. So I might use that one day. A word about Nintendo controllers. So GameCube, like the Wii Nunchuck, the Wii Classic controller, things like that. The analog sticks on those controllers don't actually click down. So there's no extra button on those analog sticks. So if you were to say, hey, I want to take the sticks out of the GameCube controller, put it in the Xbox or PS2, remember that you don't have the click like that. So if you took sticks out of this, put it in this, you would lose the click and you would lose that button in a game. So don't do that. I haven't actually tried it, but sticks out of any one of these controllers would probably fit in a GameCube controller or a nunchuck. You would have the click on the nunchuck or whatever, but it wouldn't do anything because that button doesn't exist on a Nintendo controller. So there's that. It might be an option. I haven't actually tried that yet. Like I said, it might not fit, but you could definitely give it a shot if you wanted to. So yeah, like I said, we're going to be fixing this one, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to steal the analog sticks out of this controller here. So this Xbox controller is completely dead. You plug it in, it doesn't do anything. It's shot. But it has good analog sticks. It's good for parts. So I'm taking the analog sticks out of this one, put them into this one. But like I said, if you had other controllers laying around for parts, or they just didn't work for some reason, it's definitely an option. You can definitely use the analog sticks out of something like this to fix this. So what I want to go ahead and do, we're going to go ahead and take this thing apart, and we're going to go ahead and replace those sticks and fix it. So let's get right into it. So real quickly, let's look at the tools and the parts you're going to need. So first off, obviously you're going to need some source of replacement analog stick for the controller you want to fix. So like I said, in this video I'm going to be using this controller. If you want to, you could definitely buy replacement sticks from like Deal Extreme or eBay or whatever. I don't think they're very expensive. Maybe I think they're $1.50, $2 on Deal Extreme, maybe more on eBay. So you have options, but you'll need to source them somewhere. So either buying them online or using a donor controller, whatever you got to do. You're going to need a soldering iron. Of course, you're going to need some flux. So I've got just some liquid and paste flux here. You can use whatever you want. Rubbing alcohol and some Q-tips will come in handy for cleaning the circuit board, like always. You're going to need a screwdriver to take apart whatever controller you're going to use or be fixing or whatever. So this is just like a number 0 or something like that. I think that's what Xbox uses. And then you're going to need a desoldering method. So you have two options. You can use desoldering braid like this. You know, this is probably what most people have. By the way, if you want good desoldering braid, get this Kimwick from Kimtronics. I got this all off of Amazon. This is really good stuff. It's a lot better than any kind of cheap, you know, desoldering braid you can buy elsewhere. This is not expensive, and it's highly recommended. This is awesome stuff. So you can either use desoldering braid, or you can use some sort of solder sucker method. So if you have like a desoldering bulb, or you know, whatever, you can use that. I have a desoldering station, which I love, so I'm going to be using this. So this is my desoldering station. You just, you know, heat up the joint, pull the trigger, and it desolders it for you. I'll do both. I'll use this and this just to show you that this is not going to be difficult. But I'm just using this to speed up the process, because I don't have to desolder every joint with this. But yeah, not a lot of tools required here. You know, even just taking this out of the picture, you know, this will work. No problems at all. So yeah, well, we're gonna go ahead and take apart the controllers, or both controllers, and we'll get right into it. So I went ahead and taken the bottom shell off of both controllers, just getting ready, and I just want to show you, you know, kind of where stuff is located. I'm taking both the motors out. All the screws are out of this thing, so this circuit board should just pop right out. And we'll go ahead and take off the analog sticks here, since we won't be needing those right now. And I'll go ahead and take off this memory card, whatever it is. Okay, so here is our circuit board that we need to fix. And so these little silver boxes right here are the actual analog sticks. This is the thing you never see because they're covered by the analog, or the actual thumbsticks. So these are the things that are broken, and they just need to be replaced. So these are just not, you probably can't tell, but just the way it feels is just really bad. So that's what we're going to be fixing. So here on the back side of the circuit board, you can kind of tell where these analog sticks are by looking for this little circle right here. It's got the 4 solder joints around it. That's one analog stick. The other one is located underneath the shoulder trigger here. And I don't know if there's like a trick to getting this thing out by, you know, snapping it or whatever, but the only way I've ever been able to get them out is to desolder the analog, or the pot here for the trigger, which is these 3 solder joints here. Then that whole plastic assembly will unclip, and it'll come right out. Again, maybe there's a way to do it without having to desolder that, but I haven't found it, and you kind of risk breaking something if you try to pry it out. So yeah, for me it's just simpler just to desolder this. So once we desolder the potentiometer here for the shoulder trigger, and take this entire, you know, plastic assembly off, we can get to the circuit board underneath and desolder this stick here. So real quickly, I'm going to get my desoldering station out and desolder the potentiometer. Okay, so we're focusing on these 3 points right here where my thumb is. So I'm just going to go ahead and take, just for the sake of speed, I'm just going to go ahead and take my desoldering station and just desolder these there, you guys, real quick. And that should do it. Okay. So this guy should unclip right here now. And then, so this is what we desoldered, is this part right here. So this guy should come right out. And then over here on this side, just kind of clips right in there just like that. So here's what we're after right here is the four solder joints in a square, and then we have the actual data inputs right here, or data outputs right here. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead. I'm going to desolder some of these by hand for you, and then I'll use the desoldering station just to speed this up. But you know, just to show you how easy this is. This is not difficult stuff. So the first order of business is to clean up your work area. So there's some like dirt and stuff around here and whatever. So I'm just going to go ahead and get some alcohol and a Q-tip and clean all this dirt up so I can have a clean work area. Okay, so we're basically ready here. So I just want to point out just kind of what you're desoldering here. So the four big solder points right here, these are your anchor points for the actual like metal housing part of the switch. These four solder points right here in kind of like the little square, that's the button that you push down on the stick to click. And then you have these three, the small ones right here, and then you have the small ones right here. These are your data outputs for the X and Y axis on the analog stick part that you actually move. So in all, there's like 16 points to desolder. If you don't have a powerful soldering iron, I don't want to say powerful, but if it's just like a 15-watt iron, you might have some trouble desoldering the big ones, maybe. Anyway, just want to go ahead and put some solder on my iron here. For desoldering, I use a little bit higher temperature than when I'm just regular soldering, just to get the heat on the joint so I can get it out. So I'm going to desolder, I guess, this first anchor point right here. If you're desoldering with braid like I am on this joint, the braid can get hot and it can burn you. So just be aware. That's not too bad if you don't hold it on there for very long, but just keep that in mind. It can burn you. So here I'm just desoldering this one point, and that's probably not all the way desoldered, but it looks like it's pretty close. One way I always like to inspect a desoldered joint is to take tweezers and try to move the joint, or try to move the pin, and if it doesn't move freely, or if you can't make it break loose by just using a little bit of force, then you know it's not totally desoldered. But it looks like in this case it's, let's see, yeah, that joint's actually wiggling a little bit. It's a little bit hard to see because the actual metal is kind of thick, but I can see it wiggling just a little bit, so we know that that one is desoldered. Since I've got it out, I may as well just use the wick to desolder the big ones here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just desolder these big ones, these big joints here for you. Alright, so I got the four four anchor points desoldered. You know, I checked them with the tweezers to make sure they're moving, so they are. So that means the joints are no longer intact, so that's good. Next, I'm going to take my desoldering station and just desolder the button and the two outputs for the X and Y axis. So that's what I've got here is my desoldering station. So I'm just going to put it on there, let the solder melt, and suck it up. Alright, so even having a desoldering station is not always 100%. So always, you know, check the joints, make sure they're moving. They don't always, you know, break the first time, so like I said, I just had to break that one. And so I'm just going to go through and just check all of them, make sure all of them are broken. That one's good. This top one right here it needs to be done again. So yeah, I'm gonna go back and resolder this top one right here since it's just halfway desoldered, and do it again. So let's go ahead and resolder this guy like that. And then let's give this another go. Okay. And we'll test this guy again. And now it's loose. Okay, so that's good. Now that we've got all those points on the bottom side desoldered, I'll just flip it right here, flip it up on the other side, and pull the old part out. And there you go. Pretty simple stuff. If you have a desoldering station, it makes it a lot faster, but having wick is just as good, just takes a longer time, but it works just as well. So yeah, this is the analog stick. So the four points in the corners, those are for the shielding to hold it in. These 4 points right here are for the button when it gets clicked down. And then here we have this potentiometer and this potentiometer, and that's these 3 points right there. So yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and desolder these out of, well, I'm going to desolder the other stick out of this board here. But then I'm going to desolder the replacements out of the non-working controller, and then we'll go ahead and solder the new ones in. Alright, so I've got the replacement analog sticks taken out of the old controller. I took them to the air compressor and blew out all the dust and the gunk, and I put just a couple of drops of oil in there, just to kind of help them last longer since these are used. And I want to go over something real quick that it just kind of happened to me while I was working on this, on the fixing the board on the green controller. So you'll notice here that these solder pads right here are missing. So I guess I don't know why, but when I desoldered this one, like as soon as I applied heat, it just came right off. I guess it was ready to break or something. I don't know. But yeah, this one it didn't come off when I applied heat, but as I was cleaning the area with a Q-tip, this one decided to come off too. Initially I was just not going to worry about this one. I was just going to leave it, but since this one broke off too, that could cause some stability issues as you're playing. It could cause extra stress on the rest of the joints. So I decided I'll just go ahead and fix both while I'm at it. So what I've done here is I've taken a razor blade and I've just scraped off a little bit of the solder mask around the hole to expose the copper. And so when I install the sticks back in, I'll apply solder to the copper here, and I'll just solder it in like that. The big solder joints, the anchor points, they're not signal lines, they're just ground lines. So I mean, it doesn't really matter that these are broken, because there's no signal there. It's just ground. So technically, if this one hadn't broken, I could just leave that one alone and it would be fine. But while I'm at it, I may as well just go ahead and fix it. Now, if one of these had broken, one of these points right here, or maybe one of these, I would probably fix that one, because only 2 of these are signal lines, but these are all signal lines. So I would have had to fix that one if one of those had broken. Luckily, that's not the case. So here's our stick. It's all cleaned up and everything, oiled, and so I'm just going to go ahead and install it back in. So here's our area. Stick this guy in there, and then we'll just flip it over and solder it back in like that. So I've got both analog sticks installed now, and as you can see on these two, the two pads that broke off, I just put some blobs of solder on there to hold that side in, but the rest of these are all soldered in. I went ahead and did this one as well. So now we need to take our trigger here, and we'll just slide it in, and we'll solder the 3 points in right here. Alright, so there we go. Let me just double check that and make sure it's all good. And yeah, looks like it's good. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take the board now and go ahead and install it back in the housing and everything, get it all put back together, and we'll go ahead and test out these refurbed analog sticks. Okay, so I've got some Agent Under Fire running here as a test game. Just want to show you that the sticks are working here. This isn't really my preferred method of stick layout, but as long as it works, that's all that matters to me. So yeah, definitely a successful mod here, guys. Good fix. So that's it, guys. There's your complete tutorial on how to replace analog sticks on your broken gamepad of any design. I mean, this works on Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, you name it. I mean, if it has an analog stick, you can definitely tear one of these down and desolder the old one, put a new one in, and you're all set. So you no longer have to throw out your broken controllers or leave them for parts. You can just fix them, and that's what I did to this one, and it worked out great. So if you have to steal some from your broken controllers, it might end up looking like this, but that's okay. This is parts. This one doesn't work anyway. So so that's it, guys. Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's a little bit, it's kind of tedious having to desolder all those little points on there. You don't need special desoldering equipment like I have. All you need is some desoldering braid, or maybe a desoldering pump, or tool of some kind. You don't need special equipment to pull this off. So I think it's a great repair. I hate having to use a controller that's got broken analog sticks, or their analog sticks are failing. Get in there, take the old ones out, put new ones in, and you're all set. So that's it, guys. I appreciate you guys watching the video. I appreciate you guys subscribing, and in the meantime, take care.